Supreme. I'm gonna say a lot in this video, but you gotta listen. You gotta pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, you're just gonna be pissed off because your mind probably just can't equate shit, and you was just raised from that particular energy that allows you to be that stupid, right? Stories is never gonna be given to you the right way. Ain't no story. They never gonna tell you what actually happened in the direct beginning, the initial beginning when an extra form of life came to this existence and needed a place to be. But the stories was told, but they was erased real fast. So look, the Caucasian man didn't look like what they looked like when they first came here. They was slightly different. When they got here, they acclimated to this existence. But it was a treaty. Because you can't just come into this planetary system without dealing with the planetary bodies that sit outside of where we are. So nothing just comes in here without a ticket. All right? If you don't want to hear me, get the fuck off my page. Go away. I'm so serious. You don't ever gotta say, get the fuck off my page. I'm so serious. But this is a truth. And you're not going to find it documented. Ain't no book. And the ones who do know it, if they do got it in a book, they're not going to tell you if I'm telling you right or not, because they don't want nobody to know. But before you come onto this planet, right? Before you come into this system, you got to see hierarchies. Before you land here, you got to see hierarchies. And they're not going to let you just come here. All right? They're not going to be like, yeah, sure, you can just land there. It don't work like that. You got to be in some position. Each level has to have a position. Just like somebody can't pull up into your yard unless they know where you live and get permission for you. They can't come to your house unless you say so. Same difference. So a long time ago, there was only people of earth tone here. Earth tone vibrations here. You know what I'm saying? And this is before when they be talking about monkeys and caves and all this shit. Like they keep reiterating those stories because they need a placement. They don't know, like their forefathers didn't give them the original understanding of how they got here. So when they came here, it was a treaty. So it was almost like saying birth in a sense, because it's a giant body. So in order for you to live, you had to be put into a giant body to be birthed. And this is the birth. So you came here. It wasn't an original attachment. It was like artificial insemination into this body, because we can do that to women right now. You can artificially inseminate a woman. But that don't mean that's her man. That don't mean that's her man or her egg, right? It don't have to be her egg and it don't have to be the man's sperm, but the belly can grow that for them to get them life. So because that took place, they were birthed here, but they're not from here. You know what I'm saying? That's a difference. So it was an ordinance, right? So you got to keep in mind where racism actually came from. So it's like saying, all right, naturally, the things that are in my body are attached to my nervous system, right? And all my DNA, all my information, the grounds that are inside of me, they're attached to me. So they're going to feed off that. Anything artificially inseminated, it don't get that. It get the nutrients so it can grow, but it's not going to get the direct, you know what I'm saying? Like all the direct DNA and stuff like that. It'll have samples, like flashes. And that's because this great mother was strong enough to be inseminated, right? So when that life came about, that life was confused. It was confused. It was like, yo, why I don't look like nobody? Why don't I know what this is and what that is? So, and then the truth was told, and the truth was told to that creation. It was saying, well, look, you here via the fact to give you an opportunity to live, but this is not your home. If you follow the laws of the natural order of things, this can be your home too. You'll acclimate to it over a period of years. The people are going to be loving and willing, but they don't come from the DNA of this body. So naturally, this body would never consummate with a body that the system that they come from. This body would never consummate with a system that they came from because of what they carry, right? So because that system said, well, I'm strong enough to deal with that, I can handle that, we'll give them an opportunity to live. Maybe after they leave here, they'll be strong enough, you know, to do right by their own system. They didn't even do right by their own system. That's why it's the way it is. They destroyed their own system, but they don't remember that. And in order for you to be placed somewhere else, you had to have your mind wiped of what you did. This is why so many different things are familiar and then they're unfamiliar. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It's what we allowed to come into the system. I'm just giving you the download. So it was acceptance on all scales. So this is why we battle amongst ourselves about different cultures. And the great mother was like, I'm the first great mother, so I can protect all creation. So at some point in the universe, all creations was running to the great mother. We don't want to lose our solar system. We don't want to lose everything that we created. Can you help us? The great mother was like artificially inseminating a lot of different beings. Where you can only have one, a great mother can birth many nations. So even though they're not originally from here, they came to love. And some cultures came to acclimate closer, but they still had that innate DNA characteristic inside of them that spanned from their existence or where they came from. But it's latent. It's so quiet that they'll never know. You'll think that you have controllership over something. You'll think that, oh, we're like this because this is who we are. No, the energy that you give off, it starts to change the dynamic of your land base. And it's allowed. That's unconditional love from the great mother. So it shit get deep, yo. It get real deep. So ultimately, before any religious aspect, messiahs or whatever, and this is for other cultures. I'm not speaking to my culture because my culture has been here forever. You know what I'm saying? Like the great mother has had, if you want to use funny words and terms, we've had plenty litters in this fucking place that was original beings. Plenty of them. Plenty of them. Way before it's even documented. It's been usurped over and over and over and over. But because other creations started coming in, they started time and space from when their existence happened. When they were coming in. So that's these books of beginnings. So since you don't know, or when they came, they destroyed your books because they knew they was artificially inseminated. They knew the only way they can really call this place home is to destroy your connection to all that. Is to make your connection be like, oh, damn, well, they must be, you know what I'm saying, they must be here naturally too, like, you know what I'm saying? But that would make the creator a liar, right? By saying everything that's given or everything that you are of is yours. So everything that we are of is ours. But in the same breath, unconditional love states of value. So it said, I'm going to artificially inseminate and allow them to live. Not ownership, but to live. So this is where first acclimation started taking place. This is why our people, what you want to call the indigo beings or the original beings, I'm talking about BC, way before any person that, I don't even want to get into what they call religious understanding because I'd be ready to dog walk that shit. But because they take religion and they put their own title on it like that's the manifestation, and it's not. Everything is a conglomerate because they don't even know how to get back to the system that they destroyed or even begin to build a system, and they're trying to learn that with other systems. And while they do that in the process, they destroy other systems trying to learn how to recreate a system. This is why they seem so bad, right? Innately down in their soul, they know they're not from the system, even though they were artificially inseminated. So it's like the adoptee is hating the parent that adopted them. You're not my mother. You don't care. But your mother didn't give a shit. That's why your ass here now. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Your mother ain't giving a shit about you. That's why you're here. So then that energy in itself became the dichotomy. It became the new morality or the war that people started fighting. This is where racism actually came from. It's not a real thing. It's not a real situation. It's a tantrum. It's a tantrum tantrum that merged into the understanding of a concept. It's a tantrum tantrum. Kicking and screaming, oh, no, we're not. No, you're not. You're not originally here. You're artificially inseminated, just like the processes you create. You're everything that you create. Everything that you create. I'm going to say it one more time. You're everything that you create. So some of the values started being shown to the original people, and we equated that as knowledge. And it wasn't knowledge. It was a way. It was a way other systems lived in some form, or knew how to live in some form of polarity, despite the value of accepting and appreciating their own creational aspect, right? Y'all be cooking. I've been on here 10 minutes already, and I ain't even realized it. But yeah, that's what that download was. So the download was like, yeah, I allowed them to come here out of unconditional love, because a body that's why we loved everything coming in. It's like, yo, we was the nicest coaches. We gave homes, indentured servitude, and all this other stuff. But you got to keep in mind, where they came from, they was already carrying that energy. Like, nah, we got it like this, and y'all going to do this for us because we predated that. They was doing that on their system. They were saying they were first, second, and third on their system. So they, like, anything that came under them had to serve them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why slavery actually came from. We didn't even have that as a thing here. It wasn't in the beginning. We didn't have that. We lived comfortably. We was in tune with everything. We was in tune with the animals, the vibration, the frequencies on the earth. So everything was one with us. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have a deliberation in between how we would survive and sustain with the natural order of things. That wasn't a natural mentality for us. So they created these stories of Anunnaki and and you got to keep in mind, this is like way later. This is when they was able to adjust the negative polarities and shit. You know what I'm saying? So they started seeing things as the visualization, and then started tacking on negative condensations to it. You know what I'm saying? Now we talking about mixing now after eons and eons. I could take you back gazillions of years, like trillions of years, and that existence wasn't even thought about as far as being in existence here yet. They didn't even know this place existed, even from their system, their solar. I can't call it a solar system, but they had some type of system. Whatever energy it was charged off, you know what I'm saying? It probably was charged off the main energy that they carry. You know what I'm saying? So it was charged off that. So that was their system. So before they was relevant to know that this system exists, they didn't know this system exists. So they can't tell you anything that happened before they came here. Even if they read the books, they can't comprehend it. So that's why they destroyed everything. But in the first few waves of the acclimation of the artificial insemination, what was happening was we were allowing them to acclimate into it. So it wasn't never a value of marriage, sexual orientation, and stuff of that nature, because we was unconditionally loving everything coming in. Keep in mind, at this time, we didn't have issues of disease or manipulation or something's going to happen bad if we do this or whatever. Those things didn't exist. That came with the energy polarity of indifference. Whenever, like if you take materials, no matter what its form is, whether it's electricity, water, matter, emotion, these material aspects will clash with other things and create other elemental factors. That's how you get elements. They clash. So not for nothing, if you're looking at the scale, we are clashing with things that are not naturally in our system, and it creates these dis-eases. When in fact, the energy can force itself, can move it out of the way. But we are subsequently stuck in a mentality based off the value of its existence. Meaning, if it came from somewhere, it has to be relevant from where once it came. So that attachment makes something valuable in its own retrospect. So this is why we deal with so many impurities and immunities at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and don't comprehend. We just look at it like it's happening to us, when in fact something lost something and had to be artificially inseminated because the universe just cares so damn much. You know what I'm saying? The universe just loves so damn much, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It loves us the same way. But it's like that story where, you know, you had that kid that treated your mom like because they didn't have a mom, and they're like, yeah, you know, and they always pandering to somebody else's mom, and the mom is like, oh, well, I love on you too since you don't have it. And then as soon as you like, yo, nah, this ain't, you can't act like that here, you know what I'm saying? And then they run over there to try to get love from your mom. Your mom's like, don't treat them like that. And you looking at your mom like, yo, what's wrong with you? You my mother, not, you know what I'm saying? Like the stories would show, right? Like what they call the bad son. In the movie The Bad Son back in the day, he was trying to get rid of the other dude, you know, said little kid. These was kids. I think it was Macaulay Culkin and his cousin or whatever. He was going to kick him off the thing and kill him. He was the bad son or whatever. Like that. That's why they made those movies. That's why they made those movies, yo. Somebody started comprehending, you know what I'm saying? That's what the system was. It had nothing to do with the Jesus aspect and God and all this other stuff. That was so fortuitive to the value of making sure you didn't comprehend how they felt initially, which would give you a head up on how to treat them. So they didn't want that. That was a vulnerability. They comprehended that. Like, yo, we'll never be able to take the essence of this place from these people. They will never just be ours, even though we can never. And I think they knew they could never go home unless they recreated their home. And that was like a farther distance of ending opposed to the individuals who were in the cipher of being acclimated to the system at the time. And it was like, that's too far. We'll never make it home. And it was like, yo, we gonna die here. So that aggression within them equated to loss in some form of way. They was like, yeah, we ain't gonna never get back. What about this? We're never gonna see the memories, the karma. And I'm not saying karma in a bad way. It's what they remembered from what they lost. They like, yeah, we want to get back to that. We'll never get back to that, right? And that was inlaid in the information that came with them. Like, yo, you have the power to do this. So they was like, you know what? Fuck that. We're gonna make this world ours. I keep in mind, they knew how they came in. You know what I'm saying? They knew how the people revered how you came in. So it's almost like if I watched a movie and I was like, yo, if this had happened before that, they would have never knew. Like after you watch a movie, you know certain shit. Like, and then you'll say, if they wasn't there, the rest of them wouldn't have known. Like you start assessing what it takes to comprehend the value of the knowledge that's relevant. And this is truth. This is raw truth. This is why truth is a cardinal law. And lying is a cardinal sin. If directed from the Great Mother, you had a passage to come and be acclimated to a system that was not yours, but you were being saved, then that means you would have to follow the laws that's given to you, so therefore you can be here in that system and that understanding, right? So when they went against that and they started doing other things, it was like a directory that came with it. Like if you do X, Y, Z, this gonna come with that. We understand imperfection, right? So they're manipulating through that value. It has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the treaty that they signed just to be here in the initial. So initially to keep all right, so if just say for example, like when your family first got there, you got to have a family reunion, right? And everybody at your house is outside, and everybody pulling up the cars that's coming down the road. You're like, oh, that's Aunt so-and-so, Uncle so-and-so, that's Cousin so-and-so. And they coming down the road, right? You see them in their cars. You see everybody hanging, hey, and they coming, right? So you have an audience, and you have something coming. It's acceptance. It's like sexual. Her legs is open. You insert. Same thing. The crowd is open, waiting for the line of cars to come down. The line of cars is the phallus. The open crowd is the yoni. You see what I'm saying? So it's acceptance. So that initial acceptance view of artificial insemination from time before time, it's always been the projection. This is why you have presidency. Not because of the control of the aspect, it's because y'all spread open like a yoni. And it's like 1,000 million people outside like, yeah, that's the yoni. And then you have a podium which stands tall and a person at the head of it speaking. The head, the tip, inserts into the crowd. It's acceptance. Boo-boo the fool. It's acceptance, always. They get you to get on like Little Kim and squat down with your legs open. It's acceptance. They make you get on social media, spread your legs open, show your titties. You're going to feed them, and it's acceptance. That polarity that took place is the dynamic that keeps you from seeing anything else that's taking place, because the universe remembers that in initiality, the initial conjunction of that growing or coming into space and time, that was the feeling that you gave off. So every 4 years, you give a feeling of acceptance through presidency. Keep telling y'all stupid ass people to quit involving yourself in everything people be doing, but yeah, nobody don't want to hear me say stupid, dumb, and all that type of shit, because they say, oh, that's cocky. But yeah, you'll sit there and follow something that's artificially inseminated into your process, and you don't do shit natural. Nothing. Nathan. You do nothing natural. Everything about you is to be like the artificially inseminated. Shout out to brother Kalai. Kalai was like, I don't know where the fuck they come from. I was like, yeah. And then the ones that acclimated or got mixed in the beginning, they came out light-skinned and mulatto. Some of them, you know, some of the offspring went back into that artificial insemination, and they don't even see the 1-2% that gave them a chance to be here. And that, the only reason why it's in their DNA is because that particular body, these particular bodies, were the first ones mixed into the system later on. You know what I'm saying? Like, they was the first ones like that crossbreeded and had birth here, and you was reborn here with a pinch of original dust, because you acclimated with a being here. That was a gift. That was a given. That's why they was talking about the olive branch and shit like that. So yeah, yo, this shit get deep. This shit get super deep. You know what I'm saying? And that was easily, readily able to come back into those sets that came and kind of take on some of the qualities of the natural essence of things, and then still in that retrospect play the role of acclimating that constant acceptance over and over and over and over and over. And now today it became financial value to usurp the acceptance model. So the acceptance model is why the universe doesn't really just step in and say, wait a minute, I didn't know this is what y'all been doing all the time. I didn't know this is how bad it is. Like, you screaming at the Most High, you screaming at, you know, the divine energy, like, yo, why is this happening? Because you keep opening your fucking acceptance. Keep opening your acceptance. So I can't even expect the mulattoes to follow suit. You know what I'm saying? I can't expect them to follow suit because they think the dynamic gene is the controlling party. So it makes them hate everything that's natural about them, or that keeps them naturally connected to the essence of anything. They see that as value, when in fact the great mother is of the earth. So they're only copying the artificially inseminated. And they loved it because the artificially inseminated got you to accept this as a value, and now you open up for anything. Or you ain't got no money, I'm gonna open up for this. I can't accept you. So now you not even accepting the natural mother, because the natural mother created the male and the female here. So if you're not accepting what the natural mother gave you, and you accepting the artificially inseminated, what do you think that means for the universe? This conversation nobody want to have. They can't even go back far enough to have this conversation. It's way more in the noodle. It's way more in the noodle, and I ain't gonna even hold you, but this shit get deep. We unconditionally love, yo. We got to stop looking at the semantics of what this is. And if you really Huckleberry, why don't you get them to release the true story? The one they don't want to show. All that shit they showing y'all, that was the acclamation. That ain't had nothing to do with nothing. That's why they was talking about because some of the beings back in the day, we knew. They knew, and they rose. And it was almost like the great mother's like, nah, I'll get y'all up out of here. Come on. I'm so serious, yo. Like, that was the rise, yo. And they was like, yo, they get the rise. Our rise ain't like that. We got to cut that off. Because as long as they got that rise, they going to always see that as a part of the system that allows you to be here free. Because it's your system. It's your mother's womb. Yeah, your mother might have adopted some kids, but she's never supposed to love them more than she loves. She got unconditional love. That's just who she is. But naturally, you know what I'm saying, and not for nothing, because we accepted it so much, it's like we argue with the mother. Nah, we accept this, great mother. We like this. Look how I open myself up for it. Look how much you keep opening yourself. Y'all go by herds and crowds and got big old wide legs open. And then here come the insertion. Every single time, yo. It's much more knowledge to it. And a lot of people going to take most of these little pieces. They probably going to chop my shit up and go run with it. I already know. But it's a seed, though. It's a seed. It's to talk. I'm not really talking to y'all. I'm really talking to the ancients of their culture, because they don't think there's no more ancients in our culture. They didn't see the reincarnation, and they was afraid that we was going to start popping up talking what we know the true be. And not for nothing, I'm talking to them. I'm telling them, I already know, I remember. I remember the true treaty. And I'm not even mad at you, but what I'm kind of set on is somebody that was lazy within your own cipher. They had too much emotional. They was not walking on water at all. It was the contrast to what you guys like to manifest as Messiah energy. And Messiah energy is only original mother energy. And it's not the mother, it's her son, knowing his connection. The one y'all call mama's boy and shit like that. Yeah, he always knew his connection to the great mother. So that kind of dwindled down in different ways as time changed. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the mother's boy, the one that knew his place. You know what I'm saying? The one that knew how it was supposed to be, understood the heart of his mother. You know what I'm saying? From the beginning of time. And see, that person was made to be looked at as the weakness because y'all lost respect and didn't even know the treaty. Didn't understand the unconditional love that was given to you. Now, see, universal law and man, that's what I keep saying. Universal law is different. The divine knowledge is different. It's like you can save planets. Planets can be saved. You know, solar systems can be saved with the power of collective energy. That's the harnessable power of the complete earth, of everybody that's in tune with their ley line and their spot. You can harness energy that can have conversation via the planets, and that's acceptance. So we break that up into small, minute incrementals. I heard somebody say incremental on they shit the other day, and I best believe I'm the first person who created incremental science. It wasn't even in the Google algorithm until I created that word, that term. I created incremental science. Naga the Wise, aka George Terrell Artist, I created that. Motherfuckers gonna run with it and act like they had something to do with it. But the term itself, incremental science, did not exist on the entire planet until I spoke it into existence. It's a fact. And you know how I know? I made sure and did the research. I looked for it, couldn't find it. It didn't equate to nothing. It wasn't in nothing. It was two words that was never used in the same paradigm. Or the same sequence. Two words never used in the same sequence. Incremental science. Nobody never used it. Naga the Wise. So I'm starting to hear people trying to use my shit. It's all good. But that's the whole point. Even the original people so stupid, they don't comprehend. Like somebody can artificially inseminate them easily because their acceptance is to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be accepted and don't know how to spread your legs, you know what you do? You bow down. You bow down to whatever any other understanding that comes into that circumstance. You'll bow down. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll do that. That's acceptance. So how much of that has taken? All I have to do is deprive you of feeling like you're at home, or deprive you of feeling like something is yours. And that's what happened via the false understanding of slavery, moving around, jurisdictions, control, war replacement, all this shit. All that shit just brought a confusion and a disillusion of where you were. And once you lost that understanding, you started looking at who was making all the loud noise. That's all you did. They loud. Oh my God. It's not like how we had it just love here. It's not like that. It's a fact. I'm talking like See, I'm talking trillions of years ago. Everybody's still on billions of years. Man, this earth been here so long, and they it's some real shit. I don't care what nobody say about the coalescence of the planet and all this. They can only document the change, yo. That's it. The earth has changed so many times. So many times, yo. It's changed so many times. Like, and this is a reality, not for nothing. They talk about past the ice walls and shit. You can't go there. You can't go there. You know why you can't go there? Because you're accepting to what's in here. If you knew where you was, they'll open them doors for they'll open them doors for you ASAP. Like, yo, we know what's going on in there for real. And you got to understand, like, that's why they rush to do shit so much. That's why they always there first, like this. They just jump there like we there. That's why. Because it's acceptance. If they are there, that means nobody's stopping them from going there. That means there's no hierarchy of knowledge supremely based in power by the great mother's circumstance in the heart of the situation. So in the heart, if nobody of original is coming out first to represent, anything that's coming out first must be the representation. Why you think they like, yo, you can't travel? You can't go there. Because we don't need no representations of you existing. We need the world to see y'all as down at the bottom. Why you think they show pictures of Africa only poor? Why you think when they show Japan or China, they don't show you the black Japan or China? They show you the poor parts. They show them weak. It's a giant humiliation ritual. It's a giant humiliation ritual. You're not representing the great mother. We representing the great mother, and y'all accept it. Y'all might be here, but y'all cool with it. Naga the wise.